Welcome to HoustonRCRacers Garage. In this video, I'll be working on the Team Associated B7 Bag 5. So let's get started. In addition to Bag 5, we're going to also need Bag 11, which is going to have our grease and 30K diff fluid. Alright, so we have everything out of the bags. So now we can start assembling. So first things first, it's nice to see that they included an aluminum diff cover. I believe on the B6 it was plastic and that would warp all the time. So this is hopefully going to help seal and won't warp. So this used to be, I don't know, probably like an $11 option part. So it's nice to see that they included that. All right, so we're going to need one of our out drives. We're going to need one of these like clearish white O-rings, our black grease, the gear diff gear, and one of the larger gear diff washers, which is a 5 by 8.5 by 0.2 millimeter. So we can apply some black grease onto the out drive. And then I also like to put some of this black grease on this O-ring. And then we can go ahead and install the O-ring onto the out drive, like so. And I'm just wiping off any excess on the shaft itself. So now we can insert the out drive with the O-ring into the gear diff, just like so. Next we can install the gear diff washer, and that basically just goes over the out drive, just like so. Next we can get the gear diff out drive pin and we line it up with the hole in the out drive. It's going to be kind of hard to see in there, but basically you drop it in one of these grooves with some tweezers, and then you should be able to kind of work it into that hole in the out drive. There you go, just like that. So next it says to install the sun gear, which is the larger one. But what I like to do right now is actually put a little bit of diff fluid in there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of diff fluid on the bottom, and that kind of helps keep that sun gear in place and make sure that we have the diff oil or the diff fluid near the bottom and below this sun gear. Surprised they spec'd out 30K for the diff. That's extremely high. I believe on the B6 kit setup was 5,000. Understand that they're using the LTC gears from the B74.2. The LTC stands for low torque capacity. So interesting to see that they're using that with such a high fluid. So excited to see how that's going to work out. Now I'm just putting a little bit more fluid on the teeth of the gears. So right now, so I'm gonna set that aside and let that settle. Next, we can get our planetary gears onto our cross pin. So all we do is face all the teeth towards the center. And now we're going to install the planetary gear shims, which are 2.55 by 6 by 0.15 millimeters. There should be 4 of those, and one goes behind each gear. So it's going to look just like this, and we're going to have those shims behind each of these gears. Now we can drop this into the diff and just line up the slots, and it'll go in just like so. Drops right in. And now what I'd like to do is just kind of push back these gears and just kind of push in the center, kind of rotate, make sure they fall right in and where they're supposed to. And now we can fill up the diff with the 30K diff fluid, and we want to fill it to the top of the cross pins. So I basically like to go around and put a little bit in each of these spaces between the gears, and also where the pin is. So I'll do this, and then I'm going to let this sit while I get the other side ready. So we're going to take another out drive and kind of do the same thing. We're going to add some grease onto the out drive. We're going to add grease to the O-ring and install that. Wipe off any excess. Now we can install this into the diff cover, just like so. And if any excess grease pops out, just wipe it. So next we can install the gear diff washer, which is 5 by 8.5 by 0.2. Then we can install the gear diff outdrive pin through the hole in the outdrive, just like so. And now what I like to do is I like to just put a little bit of diff fluid on that pin, and then just a little bit on the cover all the way around. So that way when I install my sun gear, when I line up the slot on the sun gear with the pin, just gently rotate, get it to sit, and that fluid is now going to prevent that gear from falling out. So now we can go back to the diff and see if there's enough fluid. It looks like there's not, so I'm going to go ahead and add more. I'm going to let this settle for a few minutes and see if we have enough fluid to get to the top of the cross pins. What I recommend is to let this sit for, I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes or so, making sure that that fluid level is not over full, and making sure that you're filled to the top of the cross pins. Make sure most of the air bubbles are out and that fluid has settled. So I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward so that way y'all don't have to sit here for 10 minutes. So fluid's at the top of the cross pins. I'm gonna go ahead and install my gasket. I'm just gonna line it up with the holes. And now I'm gonna line up the cover with the holes as well. Okay, so now we can install the 4M 2.5 by 10 millimeter flathead screws. Okay, we're going to tighten a crisscross pattern. So I did this one first, then I'm going to do this one, this, and here. That way it sits and seals evenly. And don't over tighten it. Once you feel it shoulder up, it's good. Because if you continue tighten, you're going into plastic, you'll strip it out, and then you're going to need a new diff housing. Alright, just went back, make sure that everything was still tight, and that feels very smooth. So, it does feel heavy, even with the LTC gears, but that's what the kit setup wanted. Alright, so that's it for bag 5. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you had any issues. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.